Clear Horizon Management Group started for the simple reason that understanding the rules and regulations to get licensure became way more in depth than they needed to be. And we realized that there was a need to get that explained to everybody in a format that they could understand, and more importantly, in a format that they could apply to be able to participate in the new commerce that's about to take place. The community needs to understand that the business has changed. It's not how it used to be run. From 1996 till pretty much 2016, this was a black market where people were allowed to do whatever they wanted to do without any regard to any of the normal business operating procedures that take place in any other industry in California. Well, we need to now change that and make that within reach of the vast majority of people so that they can participate in the legal framework and have it within their reach and not something that just is so far beyond them that they can't participate. So the vast majority of people really come in two camps. One camp feels that they already know how they used to operate within the industry, and as a result they take their old practices and they try and apply them into the new legislative format. And that doesn't work because there's a whole new structure that's been set up that is so new to everybody that even the people that are creating the legislation don't fully understand it. The second group of people are people that are really intrigued and have no idea of how business used to be conducted, but realize that the cannabis business represents a $22 billion industry within the next 18 months, and they want to know how they can participate. How does a small person that isn't a multi-million-dollar company get into the industry, and how can they do it in the legal framework? I think the cannabis education market is so fascinating because it's one of the areas that you would think that everybody would have a pretty clear-cut walk-in strategy to how things are done. Because technically there are a whole bunch of rules that are out there and all we would have to do is follow these rules, right? But actually in reality, it's not like that. In reality, what we find is that these rules are written and they're so variable by municipality and jurisdiction that there's no state standard. Now the state is bringing out rules, but the problem is that every local jurisdiction can have their own. And we're still in a phase where we're trying to get all of that combined into one standard operating procedure. The seminars are an absolutely amazing opportunity for you to learn the basic rules of how the industry operates, what the expectations are, what the financial commitment will be, and more importantly, what the budgets are going to look like and what you need to address going into the industry so your chances of success are already elevated. We hope that once you come to one of our seminars that you leave it with a clear understanding of what your next steps are going to be. I think the short-term perspective that students should look at taking away when they first participate in one of our classes is the fact that things probably aren't the way that they had pictured them. And what I mean by that is, to expand on that point, is to people think that they're just going to come in, get a building and whoosh, they're in business. And short-term wise, I think they're going to realize that, well, we can't even operate until the local municipality gives us authority to do that, and that could be a 3 to 6 month process. Longer term, what they're going to take away is that they're going to realize that we have to do a lot of forward business planning. The cannabis industry is no different than any other industry within the state of California in the fact that you have to plan, you have to have budgets, and you have to think further than the next 12 to 18 months. You have to have a 3-year and a 5-year objective, and we can help you kind of cement that and kind of get a clearer idea of where you're going to go with that. Some of the greatest challenges of participating in this industry is really timing. I think a jurisdiction is going to make a decision that it's going to legalize and it's going to legislate and it's going to come out with a set of rules and ordinances that's going to allow cannabis to be operated within that jurisdiction. Once they do that, the timing is, do you have the available space that meets that zoning requirement? And that's the biggest challenge. The challenge is people want to participate, but there's no buildings or areas that they can participate in because unfortunately those areas were already sold off, or there was something else that took place that now it isn't in a plentiful supply. So supply and demand is definitely a huge issue. The second issue that you have to realize that you're going to run into is that you're going to have, your budget is not what you think it's going to be. Unfortunately, This business requires a lot of capital, and that capital sometimes can run into the tens or even to the hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on what it is that you're doing within the industry. I think those are some of the biggest challenges that people need to have in the back of their minds when they kind of walk into this space. And I think that's what our seminar gives you. It gives you a true reflection of what the realities will be, as opposed to something that's sugar-coated and you think is within everyone's reach. Clear Horizon Management Group is really, as the name suggests, an opportunity to clear the path, to make it easy, to basically to highlight the road ahead. My invitation to anybody out there is that if you are interested in the cannabis industry and you feel it's beyond your reach, that is untrue. But if you want to succeed, then there are people out there that can help you get there. And hopefully we can be part of that group for you.